I'm Nat, and I'm going to be representing our team of 6. We've been working on surprising the singularity. But before I get to the details of what our project actually does, I've got a question. Who recognizes this graph? Can you figure out what it is? This is the first time at which an AI has surpassed human expert performance on each of those tasks. And can you see how the dots are getting closer together on the right? It's not quite to scale, but there are some people that are genuinely scared by this. And these aren't crazy people with signs on the street. This is Elon Musk. Now, what does that mean? Are we all going to die? Now, 6 short weeks ago, the answer to that question was probably yes. But Team Papa has been working hard to save all of your lives. Now, how do we approach this problem? How do we protect people from the singularity? One of the most basic questions is, how do you tell the difference between man and machine? And so that's what we've been addressing. What do you have to think about to address that problem? Well, first, you need to figure out what isn't on the internet. What questions can you ask a robot that it can't just Google the answers to? Andy Fawkes, who sponsored our project, had an ingenious insight. He realized that there are some things that people just intrinsically understand better. Now, here's an example of one of those things which isn't intrinsically understood better and could just be Googled. Have you seen this riddle before? Do you understand the principle that it relies on, the fact that the surface of the planet isn't actually flat? Now, it is true that you could just Google the answer to this. And if you were an AI, that's how you could figure it out. But there's an intuitive understanding there about 3D space. And what if we could create a system which required that intuitive understanding of three-dimensional space, but didn't, restrict it to the sort of edge points? What if this could be true outside Kings? What would that look like? You look at that picture and you know it's not quite right, but it would be difficult to explain why. So what's the plan? First, we get OpenStreetMap data. Then we distort space using a whole series of complicated algorithms that I don't have time to explain now. And then we use this to distinguish between man and machine. So our system, which I hope you saw upstairs, is an interactive system where you can sit down and explore a space. And if you do that for 20 minutes as a person, you will be able to recognize that it is not how it should be, that it is a distorted version of the world. However, that is a very, very difficult task to approach as a machine. There are long-term dependencies in the data. There are all sorts of issues to be accounted for. And that means that it's a good way to distinguish between man and machine. So what did we build, and will it work? Well, we took inspiration from an academic system called the arcade learning environment. Now, what the arcade learning environment is it's an interactive system where you can program an AI to play arcade games. It's what DeepMind used to assess their Atari-playing robots. And they used it to determine that AIs are quite good at Atari. The hope is that using our system, you'd be able to periodically check whether this test of human understanding of space is achieved by any robot. If somebody comes up with a new system which can pass this test, you'll be able to quickly determine whether or not it can pass the test. And so that's what our project is. It's like a capture system for the 22nd century. And so what's next? To truly test the feasibility of the project, we'd have to run it on probably a deep Q learning system, something really model and feed in all the individual frames. Anyway, thank you.